What is up, everyone? Welcome to my channel where it is beautiful. It's a beautiful day, and I'm just enjoying life here in the country. A girl who moved from Hollywood to Tennessee. But today I want to talk about the top reasons why you should do carnivore or not do carnivore specifically. And this really can be applicable to all diets, but because so many people do carnivore to try to get the benefits out of it, I thought it would be a good idea to talk about the benefits. So let's talk about the number one reason why someone should do carnivore is to fix your gut. Yes, because a lot of you guys have developed an aversion to some of the anti-nutrients in plants, specific plants, not all plants, but a lot of people will become bloated and gassy. You guys know the whole thing. Like, this is not old. You have diarrhea or bad skin or constipation or headaches, or you don't feel well, or you're feeling like having a sense of crashing. You're having reactive hypoglycemia and insulin resistance and high blood sugar and all this crap. I know it's so much. You might be experiencing one of these things where your stool is all weird, which is most people, or your skin's all weird, and is most people, or you're having dark circles around the eyes, or crepey skin, or broken vessels around your nose, or you have candida and you've got a white tongue in the back. Like, there are so many reasons. So people will go and do a carnivore diet to try to fix their gut. So under that umbrella, you might notice that, like, you're having candida, or you're having eczema or plaque psoriasis, or God knows, like, another reason is that people are having menstrual issues. They're having painful menstruals, amenorrhea, dysmenorrhea, fibroids. They're having endometriosis, cysts, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So that's another reason people are trying to get their hormones back in order, or the reproductive hormones back in order. So they're trying to go on a carnivore diet. Now, one of the main reasons why people do carnivore is to lose weight. Now, you can lose weight, some people. So that would still be on one of the top reasons to do carnivore. But that is a very low on the list one. The other one is, the main one is your gut, right? So there's other things, like people might have rheumatoid arthritis, and so they're having inflammation, or they're having oxalate dumping, or they're having joint pain, or they're having fibromyalgia, which is pain in the body that doctors can't tell you why. So this would be some of the reasons why you would do the diet. And then the reasons why you would not do it for a long time is because, obviously, my whole video series lately has been to be very careful on carnivore, because a lot of people that you guys are following are not talking about this. Like, you have a gallbladder problem and you need to up your fat. So number one, people are eating too much protein. Too much protein can lead to kidney problems. They can lead to issues with gout. Too high iron levels. Some people develop too high A levels. Toxic vitaminosis from eating red meat all the time, every day. People start to gain weight, which is the opposite, right? Because that protein starts turning into a candy bar over time, not in the beginning. You start to develop chronic dehydration, a severe electrolyte issue, thyroid issues. Your hair starts falling out because you're not in ketosis, doing a high protein carnivore diet. Adrenal issues, poor sleep issues, like poop issues, either constipation or diarrhea. People are developing histamine issues when they try to go back to some of the foods that they loved, or chronic fatigue, or I can't sleep, or the constipation, like I said, or the loose stool. Those are the main ones, right? Or just boredom because they want more diversity. Which is the one I don't really like. That's the one I don't like why you should quit carnivore. But literally, you want to watch. And you can also have your sex hormones tank and your thyroid hormone tank, because you are not getting into ketosis. And with too much protein, you're not restoring glycogen storages because you cut out the carbs. Yeah. All right. Those why to stop, I've got like 5 billion videos on why to stop carnivore after a certain amount of time. Now, maybe I should explain how to do that, how to transition into carnivore for the benefits that I just listed, like fixing your skin, getting rid of the inflammation and the digestive itises, Crohn's, diverticulitis, ulcers, things of this nature. But let's go into it. Now, today, I want to talk about FODMAP foods. So this is some of the benefits of carnivore, but the thing is, don't do it too long. Okay, you need that prebiotic fiber. You need your diamine oxidase, your N-methyltransferase. Y'all need to have the right poop. You need to not chase the fat, the body fat, and to do cold therapy and ice baths and carnivore and fast at the same time. You are going to destroy your metabolism. And as you get older, because I'm in my mid 50s and I'm a woman, some of these men don't understand women got issues before they do a carnivore diet. So if they start doing all those three things, jacked. Like the woman today who did all three. And she's like, I'm just gaining weight. I lost all this weight. Now it's coming all back. Don't understand why. She doesn't understand gluconeogenesis. She doesn't understand estrogen dominance. She doesn't understand that her liver enzymes were elevated on blood sugar rebounding and reactive hypoglycemia doing carnivore. Right? That's why we don't do it for a long time, people. It is not when people say like, oh my God, I've done it, it's amazing, I've never had a problem. A lot of people don't recognize chronic dehydration. They don't recognize the symptoms. They don't. And when I talk to these people or I meet them or I see them, you can see when somebody's not healthy. They can't see it because they got like the beer goggles on, the proverbial beer goggles. And that is why we have to be very careful when anyone hypes a diet as being the most amazing thing in the world. That's not life. Life always comes with struggle. So if people make things sound easy, they're not being honest. Someone said in my comment section, so is everybody lying? And I'm like, yeah, at some point. Not all the time, but yeah, at some point. They don't disclose or they flat out lie or they tell you only like partial truths. But it's very rare that people are going like, oh my God, I crashed so hard and now I developed this problem or that problem or like a gout issue or a high blood sugar issue or a gallbladder issue or chronic fatigue or whatever people are experiencing or thyroid that or chronic dehydration. There's only a few people who've kind of touched on it, like Frank Tufano and Paul Saladino, who clearly went on sugar binge fetish. Sorry, I don't mean to say fetish. That's kind of rude. But like freak out on fruit. I mean, I don't mean to say freak out, but eating a lot of fruit because on carnivore, which is so bizarre, like, why don't you just eat carbs again? Like, why don't you have a slow burning starch, right? So you don't have to eat a bunch of fruit, especially if you have sensitivity or fructose intolerance. That may not be a good idea. Carnivore with fruit. Unless you're having a problem with pooping, you're trying to use the fiber. But let's get into this whole FODMAP thing because it's very interesting and it plays a big role in the whole digestive issue and why people go on to carnivore and things to consider. Because, like, of course, you guys know I'm doing my challenge, so I'm doing all the deep dive. I have done so much research on the whole probiotic thing. I'll talk about that in another video because I need to break it down, make it small. And but my course is going to have more extensive, not course, challenge. The challenge works like a course and a challenge at the same time. It's going to be through my website. The signups are not ready yet, but soon. Now let's get into it. All right, so right here we have a list of foods. These are low and now this is not for carnivore keto people. It's just to explain when you develop an inflammation in the bowel. But let's go into the actual website here instead of showing this list of foods because here it's talking about excessive fructose, right? Apples, mangoes, but a lot of you guys aren't eating this stuff. High fructose and the monk fruit sweetener that people are trying to get in their diets, really dangerous, horrible. You've got your lactose, so like you've got people are trying to do milk and people are doing carnivore with milk. And they don't realize that maybe FODMAP food, high FODMAP foods are causing issues. That's why they can't do dairy like goats or cheese or butter or milk or whatever. Or cottage cheese or whatever. And then some people actually are really bad with asparagus, beetroot, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, all these cruciferous that I tell everybody to eat on This is for people who bloat. Like, I do cabbage, but I bloat, right? So why are they bloating? Right? They're histamine. They're having issues with their diamine oxidase. They're having issues with the gut wall integrity, right? This is how people start to have reactions to FODMAP foods. Eggplant and garlic and leek and okra and onion and shallots and the rest of the stuff we don't eat, like cereals and things of this nature. Some melons, apples, apricots, avocados on the list as well for some people. That's why some people have an avocado sensitivity. Blackberry, cherry, all this other weird stuff like nashi and nectarines and peach and pears and plums and prunes and watermelon. Blah. Bell peppers. Now it says foods to enjoy, but we're not eating these foods. I will leave these foods for Paul Saladino, like bananas and blueberries and rest. These are like foods that aren't so mappy, which is cantaloupe and cranberry. And this would be remotely okay if you had if you were doing a low carb, high fat diet. But I'm gonna get off this because this ain't me. This whole map thing is just explaining the FODMAP foods, low FODMAPs and high and low FODMAP. I have a hard time saying that stupid word. FODMAP of foods. Now let's see here. Low FODMAP diet is certain carbohydrates, but this isn't a typical low carb diet. It all eliminates high FODMAP foods and can be individualized, which you guys have to understand. We're all different. Some people react to broccoli, some don't, who can handle other FODMAPs and high in FODMAP foods. The problem is for some people because they draw more fluid into the intestine and create gas. They create more gas because they are more commonly easily more fermented in your gut. Okay, the combination of additional fluid and increased gas can slow down digestion, resulting in gas, bloating, pain, diarrhea, and basically you're not absorbing your food very well. Now, why does this happen? It happens from antibiotics, it happens from NSAIDs like ibuprofen and Motrin and all these aspirin-like painkillers. It happens because people were smokers or drinkers or coffee drinkers. It happens from people doing like really garbage standard American diet with high sugars and people skipping meals and drinking coffee with fasting, which a lot of people don't talk about, and then just eating meat, and then all of a sudden their gut wall integrity gets worse. So again, it is when some people they draw more fluid into the intestine and create more gas. That's like that awful bloat feeling in the stomach. Let me see. Here it's saying how do you know if you are having FODMAP, but that's my whole thing is to eliminate and then reintroduce. That's my whole thing, and I've got a lot of videos explaining how to titrate up, let's say, avocados very slowly. You might come with like a spoon, like a teaspoon or tablespoon of avocado with meat to fatty meat to slow down digestion. But you see high fat FODMAP foods are fructose, like fruits, apples, mangoes, which is why Paul Saladino is doing a lot of fruits. Don't understand people went on carnivore to avoid the gut distress. So I'm kind of confused as to why that is such a part of his ideology right now for people who've got gut issues with FODMAP foods. FODMAP foods. So like I said before, like the lactose, the dairy, it's like sheep, goat, cow, the cheese, all of that. We've got the asparagus, the broccoli, the cabbage, the onions, the garlic. Some people bloat on that stuff. Galactans. Okay, we don't eat legumes, so we're good with that. Polyols, which has sugar alcohols like fruits that have pits or seeds like apples, apricots. We don't eat those, but avocados we do. You see no almond milk, of course that has oxalates too. The almond milk, the rice milk, the coconut milk, all of those milks that you guys are trying to stick in there. Vegetables like bok choy, carrots, chives, cucumbers, eggplant, ginger, lettuce, olives, parsnip, potatoes, spring onions, turnips. So parsnip is one of the foods that I tell you guys to try, and sweet potatoes. So not everybody can do those, and that's why some of those people have to eat the white rice because that's low FODMAP food. Proteins like beef, pork, chicken, fish, eggs, and we ain't talking about no tofu. Also macadamia nuts, which I recommend sometime. It's only if your body doesn't react to them. And so let's go more into how you develop an aversion to FODMAP foods and histamine foods. Well, let's see here, my beautiful people. Let's get back over to this image so you guys can see this image. I'm going to break down this stuff. Right? So the reason why you would go on a carnivore diet, and let's only look at the really high FODMAP foods. The low ones, we don't eat all that fruit anyway. Okay, let's see here. All right. There are different types of inflammatory bowel disease, and a lot of you have it because a lot of you guys have celiac disease and you don't know it. You don't even know it. Okay. You could have it for years, and you could have a cross reactivity reaction, which is where your body starts to look at rice and oats and dairy as the same as wheat, even though you don't eat bread anymore. So these disorders, these inflammatory disorders can come in the form of like an ulcer. They can come in the form of irritable bowel syndrome, where you got to poop every time you eat and it sucks and you get diarrhea and bloating and pain and all this kind of stuff. You got to run to the bathroom. Then obviously celiac disorder, which is like a host of health issues. Like, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Diverticulitis, right? This is a condition where the small pouches called diverticula they form in the walls of your colon and become inflamed. This sucks. A lot of people I know have diverticulitis. You have infections of your infectious colitis. This is an inflammatory disease of the colon caused by an infection such as bacteria, viruses, or parasites, which that's a lot of people. I'm telling you, everybody watching this video has one of these on the list on a small or large degree. Microscopic colitis. This is a type of inflammation of the colon that can only be seen under a microscope. So some people may not it may not have an obvious appearance. See, and there's two types of this. It's collagenous colitis and lymphocytic colitis. Gastrointestinal disorders. And these are characterized by high levels of eosinophils, eosinophils, tongue twisters, a type of white blood cell in the digestive tract. Okay, let's keep going. This is for people who've got gastritis. So a lot of people go to the doctor and they don't understand what's going on in their gut, and then they don't understand why they can't eat the foods that they used to be able to eat, and then they might do carnivore and feel better for the short term. Let's see here. Let's talk about the ascending colon. That's going downwards because you have the transverse and the ascending colon. Ascending going down. So you could have colonic polyps, and these are growths that occur within the colon, including the ascending colon. Most polyps are benign, which means they're non-cancerous, but some can develop into cancer if they're left untreated, or if you guys don't stop eating bad. Appendicitis, but I'm not going to go into that because that is something of the ascending colon, but that's very unusual. Crohn's is a big one that a lot of you guys don't know it, who come from the world of drinking too much and having like food sensitivities and won't stop eating those foods, like tomatoes and whatever. This is a condition of the small pouches called diverticula. Again, oh no, Crohn's. This affects the part of the digestive tract, including the ascending colon, and it can cause inflammation and pain and other symptoms. So you feel like garbage. Now, let's keep going. So coffee is a big contributor to these inflammatory bowel diseases because it's very acidic, and you have this very sensitive, like very soft little layer of skin in your digestive tract and a mucus layer, and coffee just goes to town on it. That's why a lot of you guys get stomach aches, because you can only handle so much of the acidity from coffee, and also some teas and some caffeinated teas like your black teas and whatnot. Let's see. So this is Crohn's. Coffee can irritate your colon, the transverse and the stomach and the ascending colon. So coffee contains compounds that irritate the gut lining, such as, chlorogenic acid and catechol. So these compounds contribute to the inflammation in the gut on that mucus layer, that very sensitive layer. So be careful. Let's see. So basically, these chlorogenic acids and catechol, these are the things that give your coffees and some teas that bitter taste. So some fruits and vegetables have those as well, like blueberries, ironically. But we're not eating blueberries, so we're good. We're good. That's why you're doing carnivore, right? Um, let's see. Okay, smoking, of course, we don't smoke, but smoking contributes to this issues with your gut, why people do carnivore. Stress, massive stress. Stomach acids percolating, lowering, creating a dysbiotic gut. Stress is really bad, especially if you develop GERD, where the body tries to like squeeze that acid back up to your throat. Not good. So stress is really bad. It helps with lower motility, creates an overgrowth of bacteria, all kind of nastiness. Poor healing of the gut. If you have inflammation, stress will just keep that inflammation going on and on and on and on, and then your microbiome becomes terrible, and then the skin gets bad, and the bloating gets bad, and you have all these things like thyroid and all these painful joints and inflammatory diseases and fibromyalgia start kicking up. Let's see, when you don't exercise, so when you like there are so many people just don't exercise. So that's another one. That's a whole nother thing about exercise I'm gonna go into. And of course your medications like antibiotics and not non-steroidal anti-inflammatories called NSAIDs, like ibuprofen and birth control pills can irritate the gut lining. Yes, I said, and your HRTs. Yes, my people. And they also make you develop a dysbiotic gut. Whoo! See, cortisol, adrenaline. I already talked about the stress issue. And let's see, we go more into cross reactivity. See, the immune system makes the mistake with the other proteins in other grains and foods. So it starts to stamp it as the same food when it's not wheat. So look for that. And so the FODMAP, if I go into that more, so these are oligosaccharides, and they're in things like garlic and legumes and chickpeas and fruits and vegetables and asparagus and artichoke and leeks, right? The onion type. Monosaccharides like fructose, honey, apples, pears, high fructose corn syrup, obviously. Um, polyols are things that are in your xylitol. This is why you guys feel like a stomach, like diarrhea or bloated when you have like the xylitol sweeteners, which I just don't take those. Maltitol, xylitol, sorbitol, get rid of it. Yeah. Trying to see if I missed anything else. So what causes the FODMAP disorder? Of course, that's from like wheat gluten intolerance. It's from the NSAIDs. It's from IBD, which is the irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, or IBD, which is a celiac disorder. So if you guys have a problem with wheat, you might develop a sensitivity to high FODMAP foods, and so you got to look for a low FODMAP diet, which is why I have that image right there. Stress again, and let's get rid of this image because we're back like that. So you guys really try to understand why you're doing carnivore. Don't just do it willy-nilly because, well, your neighbor's cousin's uncle's sister's daughter's cousin's friend across the street said that they did carnivore and fasting and they did great. So you're going to do it and do great too. And often the 99% of my clients, if not all of them, come to me because they heard that somebody else did great. Then they do it. They feel good in the beginning, or sometimes they feel crap right away, or they'll do good in the beginning and then they completely just crash after time. Somebody in my comment section yesterday is like, "Oh, I do carnivore and I'm amazing and I don't even eat anything else and I don't mind my electrolytes and I'm great." And I'm like, why are you talking like this? You are clearly in denial. Like, what's wrong with people? Like, just to even go on somebody else's channel and say, like, how great you're doing and nobody can see you was ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's like, hey, it's not like, hey, interview me and your real people with real stories. I want you to show a success story. Talk to me so I can show you how amazing I've done on Carnivore. They don't do that because they know I know what the right questions are. Denial is real, people. Look at in the world today. You can't talk to 99% of the world today because they're just completely in denial that everything is normal and the economy's fine and everything's fine and we just like the Brady Punch and everything's just going to keep on trucking like a sitcom and where's the laugh track and everything's fine. That's not life. Without struggle, you can't have joy. Wake up, my people. Like, Carnivore is good for the short term, but it's not good for the long term. And I have a bunch of videos as to why. Okay? Okay. Now it's time to go ride my horse. Energy. Whew. So all of this information, these details, I'm simplifying it so it's not as complicated as all the stuff I just read and spoke about. But what I want you to do is really take a step back, look at your existing health, really understand what things feel like. People don't know if they're constipated or not. People don't know if they're bloated or not. Write in a journal. Give yourself a week to write down what some of your symptomology is. Every single consultation, I have people fill out a form before they do a consultation with me, or like way before, and then I'll look at it and it'll be like, my sleep's fine, I have no gallbladder issue, I have no food sensitivities. We all have issues in some varying degree. And I'll start clocking them. I can find out in 2 seconds they have sleep disorder. They'll be like sleeping 9 hours or falling asleep in 30 seconds. I'm like, that's adrenal fatigue. They're like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, do you dream? Oh, I don't remember. Okay, you're not sleeping. Okay. You're not sleeping deep enough for reparative, like deep sleep cycles. You're not repairing. And that is the reason why you have Hashimoto's. It's like people don't understand that if you have Hashimoto's, 9 times out of 10, you're not sleeping well. Or if you cannot lose weight, there's something going on with your insulin. If you're waking up to pee, it's not to pee, it's because of not having enough ADH, or having a blood sugar dysregulation. So if the more you know, the more you're able to actually self-diagnose better than some fool in my comment section telling me that they're fine when we know they're not. Ain't nobody fine. Nobody fine. Okay? People throw that word around like it's like, just like it's taking a poop. Oh no, that's not true. People don't take poops. People throw that word around like it's drinking a glass of water, which they need to drink more water too. All right, guys. This is my channel, and I am editing this beautiful video, lifestyle video, a day in the life of Steph, including my my diet and the animals. I'm going to get more into what I do for work so you guys can actually see. I'm going to film one of my consultations. I'm going to show you what my course page looks like. I'm going to show you how much it sucks to have to do videos constantly online. And it sucks because if you don't crank out videos every day, like this is my problem. You guys can go back and there's not even advertisement on my videos because I didn't want people to watch advertisement to watch what I had to say. And then you just get buried. Like the algorithm will just be like, okay, you don't promote us, we won't find you. Nobody will find you. So unfortunately I have to do these videos, but as I'm promoting this stuff, hopefully you'll learn something. Get ready for this challenge. I'm really excited. I'm working on it every day. I'm literally killing myself doing this thing. But when I'm done, I'm going to be like done with it. I'm not going to do a challenge unless I redo the same challenge. I'm not going to do a new one for a while because this one is. Because not only am I redoing the challenge, I'm also redoing all of the meal plans on my site as well. So when you guys do the challenge, if you need a complete guide, you can also upgrade. Yes. Yeah. That's life. That is life. Life is beautiful. Life is weird right now. But thank you everyone for coming to my channel. Don't forget to like up the stream, subscribe, share this content because that's a real big way how people find me. Comment below and tell me what you want me to talk about. I get tired about talking. I'd like to talk about the world today, but I guess there's too many people who are doing like current events. I would like to talk about other things like what it's like to be 55 going on 56 and keeping that muscle. I would like to talk about moving out of California and how to find real estate. I would love to talk about never having a horse before and getting a horse out of nowhere in my 50s and getting four of them. I'm going to show you guys my house build and how I'm going to do it on the cheap, and how I got this property on the cheap, and how I built 10 acres, $36,000 worth of fencing for under 2K. Yeah, if I would have hired someone, it would have cost that much. But there's much more in life than just food. Stuff gets boring. But every time when I do my live streams and I talk about life, so many people just drop off the stream because they only want you to give them the solution. And I'm like, if I was watching someone, I'd like to know a little bit more than just food and macros. Well, and health. It's not just food and macros, it's also health. But energy. And you can follow me on Instagram at Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. You can also join my $15 a month course where I still cover all three diets, low carb, high fat included, and carnivore and keto. And then get ready for the challenge because it's going to be